Aloha. It's your favorite friend with questionable character, Aloha Mr. Han, coming to you again. That's right, again. On this Saturday night, February 6th, courtesy of our friends at From the 108. And of course, powered by Jack Daniels. Had a little bit, I'm going to have some more. As I said again, I just recently recorded a Collector's Corner that is uploading now. Hopefully you'll see that later on tonight. And then decided to jump back on and talk about the White Sox roster for 2021. Trevor Bauer, Marcelo Ozuna, Nelson Cruz, Alex Colomé, and the schedule. So, as you know, Trevor Bauer signed a contract yesterday with the Dodgers, not the Mets, not the White Sox, the Dodgers, for 3 years, $102 million. But it's a unique structure where it's broken down. For 2021, he earns $40 million. For 2022, he earns $45 million. And then the remaining 17 is in 2023. Also, he has opt-outs for each year. So obviously, this is a 2-year contract maximum because he goes from 45 to 17. No, he'll go back out on the market trying to find money unless he's injured. The White Sox were never serious players. I know that I had done some goofing around on Twitter, tweeting Rachel Luba, tweeting Trevor Bauer about joining the White Sox. But let's be honest, there was never any chance. With the numbers that were being thrown out, are you kidding? The White Sox ran out the other door and pulled out of that like a virgin on prom night. It's frustrating as hell, to be completely honest with you. The White Sox are frustrating as hell because they have a prime opportunity. Remember, the money was going to be spent, but they have a prime opportunity to dominate, not just win the division, dominate. And they fall into the old hope category instead of make category, hoping that, oh, we hope we can win the division. No, make your luck. Go take the division. Don't hope for it, take it. You had the chance to do that. It was there for you and you didn't do it. You let it all slip away. They can still win the division. I'm not saying they can't. But I would like more certainty. There's no such thing as 100% certainty in life, with the exception of 2 things, death and taxes. But I would like more certainty. And more certainty would be achieved by more talent on the roster and overwhelming talent on the roster. Basically, taking that window that is supposedly open right now and opening it more and kicking your way through it. That's what I wanted to see, but no. They're sort of sticking their head in there going, oh, I hope we can come through here, instead of kicking their way through it. Like I said, I still think they have a chance to win, but the schedule doesn't help. And let me explain. I know if you were listening to the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast on Thursday, it was recorded Thursday, released on Friday. I was messaging them. They were doing it live on YouTube, and I was sending messages and going back and forth with them. And they talked about how the roster you see today is different than the roster you'll see in 4 months, meaning end of July, basically, trade deadline date. April, May, June, July. So that's what I'm taking their meaning to be. While that's very possible, there's also another scenario that I think they need to look at, and the schedule sets up this way where it could be possible. And that is, the White Sox play the Twins 16 of their 19 times before July 31st, which is what we're using as the trade deadline. 16 of 19. The division race could be over. Either way, to be completely honest. The Twins could be up by 10. The Sox could be up by 10. Do you think they're going to do something if that's the case? Really? No. I would like more certainty. When I say certainty, I would like someone who is a number 4 starter. Dylan Cease may be a number 4 starter. Maybe he can be a number 4 starter. Again, maybe, hope, can be, not is. That's my frustration with this team. I think they're pinning too much hope on too many X factors. Another prime example of this is Andrew Vaughn. And now, before everybody starts jumping my shit, let me just say, I think Andrew Vaughn has the potential to be a great hitter. I do. I'm not saying he doesn't. But to put him in the lineup on day one when your window is open with him as the DH, it could be a little dangerous. What happens if he struggles? Let's face it, he was drafted in 19, so he had minimal at bats in 19. And then last year he was in the Schaumburg offsite facility. Ooh, that's a lot of good pitching he faced. That's a whole season. No, he didn't have a whole season. Just like anyone else didn't have a whole season. I think it's. I don't know how I feel about him being the opening day DH. I think it's too big of a risk, in my opinion. And again, this is not an implication of what I think of his talent. I think it's too big of a risk to take when you're in your competitive window. If you knew you were taking this approach, he should have been up last year. He should have been getting at bats last year. I'll also say that about Zach Collins. If you really wanted him on your roster when your window was open, he should have been getting at bats last year. He was terribly, terribly mishandled by Ricky Renteria. Now, you can have an argument and say that you don't think Zach Collins will amount to anything. That's a fair argument. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But wouldn't you like to know that is the fact? Give him the opportunity to hang himself. That's what I'm saying. Let's see if he's got it or not. That way you know. You don't have this question. I know a lot of people will say, well, we already know. I don't think that's a fair assessment at this point in time. After a month, it could very well be a fair assessment. But you don't know that at this point in time. And that's part of my issue. Too many unknowns. Who's going to be your fifth starter? Is it Lopez? Is it Rodon? Kopech? It better not be Kopech, because if he's up in the majors to start the season, you're committing a crime against that kid. He hasn't thrown pitches for 2 years. Yeah, he's been throwing in practice and everything else. It's not the same. He hasn't pitched in 2 years. You better start him in the minors. And remember, the minors start a month later now. So that factors into this as well. You got to start him in the minors to build up that arm strength. And even when you get him up, he's still going to be on an innings limit. So what are you going to see? 5 innings starts from him? If that, are you going to have him in the bullpen, coming out of the bullpen, like Crochet? Which, by the way, I have no problem with Crochet pitching in the bullpen this year. Partially for the same reason how I feel about Vaughn. The kid got drafted last year, and he's got, 4 innings? 5? Whatever, however many innings he's thrown. Get him in the bullpen, get that arm built up. Let's see if he's a starter down the road. You need to get him some pitching. Get him some live work to better assess whether or not he could be a starter. So that's my opinion on that. And like I said, the schedule makers, MLB, just freaking sick and tired of MLB. I really am. Because the Sox don't play the Twins at all for a weekend series in either park. No weekend series, Sox and Twins. That's a travesty. I surefire bet Yankees and Red Sox, every time they meet, it's on a weekend, so you can get them on Sunday Night Baseball, because God forbid if we don't hear about the soap opera that is the Yankees and the Red Sox. They could both suck, but we'll still have to hear about it. Oh, remember 1978 when the Yankees came back from a 14-game lead? It was 43 fucking years ago. Give it up already. I would rather see on Sunday Night Baseball, to be honest with you, the Dodgers and the Padres, the Dodgers and the Giants. I would rather see that. I would rather see that than I would Yankees Red Sox. So sick and tired of that crap. All these East Coast elitists, that's the best rivalry in baseball. No, not really. You want to see the best rivalry in baseball? Dodgers Giants. Suck it and deal with it, because you know it's true. You just can't handle the fact that you ain't getting all the attention. But that's my take on all this stuff. I mean, the unfortunate thing I see happening as a result of the Bauer contract is the White Sox basically turning all of their draft attention to pitching, foregoing position players just to get pitching because they don't want to play in that market for those prices. See that happening, and it's going to have a dual-edged effect. You're going to get all these pitchers of which, if you get a couple that work out, that's great. You'll never have a true ace, if you will, because you won't be willing to pay for it. And then you're going to neglect the position players. And you're going to be in the same boat you've been in for the last 20 some odd 30 years. You know, the varsity's great. The varsity is top notch. It's a great lineup. But if somebody from that varsity goes down, you're screwed because you don't have the depth to back them up. Now you have depth in the perspective of giving a guy a day off here, a guy a day off there. You have that depth. But if you sustain an injury to an Eloy or, the inevitable Adam Eaton DL stint, who's going to play there on a regular basis? Who do you have ready to play there? Lurie Garcia? What, Adam Engel? Are they really quality replacements? No. I mean, Engel's a great late inning guy. Lurie the versatility will be affected because if you got him starting every day in a certain position, that's another position he can't play. So your varsity's great, but you have no reinforcements, no backups, no capital. Because one of the things the White Sox do is they use prospects as capital. Good prospects and bad prospects, they're all capital. And so when Lance Lynn, great example of this. So when they made the Lance Lynn trade, they gave up 6 years of Dane Dunning for Lance Lynn. Gave up prospect capital for Lance Lynn. Now, you could say, what was Dunning going to be, like a number 3, number 4? Probably. I like Dane Dunning. I do. I thought he had a chance to be a decent mid-rotation pitcher. I liked his composure. But I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's the cap. They do it to offset cost. And sadly, that's just it. It's all about cost containment with this team. They want a budget. They want a payroll in the meaty middle, like a term from school. You have your high achievers, you have your low achievers, and you have your meaty middle. They want to be in that meaty middle, right there. Not doing too much to show off, not doing it enough to fit, basically not failing. Right in the middle. Think 81 and 81, which puts you in basically hell. Because you're not good enough to win, but you're not bad enough to get the prospect capital you need at the high levels of the draft. That's where this team has always worked until the last couple of years. That's where I see this team going now. I could see this team winning 100 games. I could see them going 81 and 81, to be completely honest. I don't think there'll be any middle ground there. I think it's one or the other. And I just feel that there's too much risk on this team. Having Vaughn be the DH to me is too risky. The questions around the 4 and 5 starters are too risky. They're too risky because you don't have reinforcements for it if it doesn't work. That's why it's too risky. So when you take that into account, it's kind of hard to feel comfortable, at least in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people talking about this team's going to dominate, they're going to win the division easily, this and that. Vegas thinks they're going to win the division easily. That's great. I've seen teams like that before where they were supposedly the best team. Hell, the early 2000s, the White Sox were more talented than the Twins every year. Finished in second place behind them every year, too. So, between 2001, the Indians won the division. 2, 3, 4, the Twins won the division each year. Which brings up another sore subject. Never had back-to-back playoff appearances. I'm going to keep harping on that until they actually do it because it's a freaking embarrassment that they haven't. Ownership should be embarrassed. They've owned this team for 40 years and never had a back-to-back playoff appearance. Had a chance for it, believe it or not, in 1994, but the owner decided that he'd rather have a lockout than have his team possibly go to the World Series. Whatever. So, I just feel that there's too much risk for this team right now with the roster the way it's constructed. It can do great things. I think it could. But if something happens, it could go downhill real fast. So, wanted to put that out there. That's all I got for you. I hope everyone has a great night. Stay in. It's a little cold outside. And hopefully everyone enjoys the Super Bowl tomorrow. Don't forget to order your food from Buffalo Wings and Rings. Good stuff. I got my order in. Picking it up tomorrow. So, with that, take care, everyone. And I am done. Bang.